Hi everyone, in this video, Tim Green will tell why nobody cares about your business and will give 5 tips on communicating with customers on a blog post. Tim Green is a UK-based freelance journalist, copywriter and analyst. He's been writing about technology, particularly mobile, for 20 years, first as senior analyst with Screen Digest, then as editor of B2B publication Mobile Entertainment. Today, Tim writes reports, white papers and ebooks for clients including Citibank, Juniper Research, Data.ai, and the mobile operator trade body GSMA. Tim, hello. We're incredibly excited to have you here with your vast journalism experience and expertise to share with us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
What would be your recommendations, maybe how to stand out, what is worth adding in the blog post? What is your opinion about that?
The big change that's happened in the last 10 or 20 years is that publishing used to be something that specialists did. And if you were a company and you wanted to get your message out there, you had to talk to journalists and magazines and hope that they would listen and that they would publish stories based about your company. Now, of course, every company is a publishing company. You've all got your own blog posts, you've got your own video, YouTube channels, obviously, which is what we're doing here today. And so it's quite important that these companies sort of learn the basic skills of how best to communicate. So actually, before this interview, I was thinking about 10 kind of tips or bits of advice. So shall I go through those?
I already like how you structure that.
Okay, I'm already thinking about it. 10 tips, you see, a good way to get a message across. So, some of them are quite obvious, some less so. The first one is jargon. Companies love to use jargon in their comms, and some jargon is inevitable. Like you can't talk about the messaging business without talking about CPaaS or A to P or whatever. So I'm not really talking about technical jargon. I'm talking about using complicated words when simple words will do. So you'll get companies saying, we'll help you maximize your monetization gains to optimize your EBITDA or something. And like nobody speaks like that, so why not just say, we'll help you make more money. We'll help you save time. But I think that companies feel like if they write that way, somehow it makes them sound stupid or they're not clever enough. But, Winston Churchill said, use simple words and then everyone can understand them. So, I think Winston Churchill's probably quite a good example.
So if we listen to politicians, we realize that it's actually a very, not primitive, but very basic language for all of us to understand.
Yeah. Why would you exclude anyone from understanding, especially if you have a lot of non-native English speakers? Why would you say maximize your monetization gains rather than make more money? It's just a silly thing to do.
As a non-native person, I'm 100% with you.
Right. Yeah. So that's a very obvious one. And I think it comes down to insecurity where companies feel like they won't be taken seriously if they don't use these words, but it's just not true and it just doesn't help. So the second one is that nobody cares about your company, I'm afraid. Nobody cares about Intis. Nobody cares about Tim Green, copywriter. Nobody cares about them. They only care about themselves. They come to your website or they read your blogs and they're thinking, how can this company help me to make more money, save time, have better customer relationships? That's all they care about. So if you're writing your website or you're thinking about a message you want to get across, nobody cares about if you just won an award. They don't care about your new staff member and how they like going to the cinema or they like walking their dog. It's nice to have that stuff, but don't prioritize it because nobody really gives a shit, if you'll excuse my language. But what they want to know is, how can you help them? So, you should be thinking in everything that you write should be from your customer's perspective and not from your perspective.
I agree that there is definitely such a thing as a brand character, which is also important to share the achievements, to show the person who is behind, like the business owner, for example. But it's crucial and very often forgotten to actually provide the expertise which would help satisfy the team.
I agree. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have any of that brand color, but you just have to put it in perspective, and it has to be secondary to the main information, which is just putting your customer first and thinking at all times on how you can help them. So the third thing is have one thing to say. So what I mean by that is, sometimes you get companies, they'll write a blog post or they'll write a press release, and they're saying 3 or 4 different things in there. And it's confusing for the reader. The company quite often doesn't know which, it makes it difficult to write. They don't know which message to prioritize. So, if you've got a new product and decide what that product is for, what it does best, focus on that, and don't get confused by trying to tell a big and complex story.
I agree. And also, especially when you're a startup, it's very important to be extremely focused with your message and who is the target audience. For example, the story of Spanx, which is like a lingerie
I know all about it.
company. Yeah. So the way she started from one product. Yeah. And she really focused on that. And when she realized, okay, it's all covered, I'm moving further, and it started to grow. But the meaning is the same as what you say, that focus on one thing, on one message. And when it's spread, you can move further. Yeah. I see this so many times. And, if a product has got loads of features on it, you can always put that, if you're writing a press release, you can put that in the notes. But, when you're thinking about the headline and the intro and the first line of your paragraph, it has to be what one thing does this product do? How does it help the customer? Fourth one is always answer questions. So if anyone's listening to this or watching this video and they want one self-help book, I would advise a book called They Ask, You Answer. It's the best business book I've ever read. It's absolutely brilliant. And it's written by a guy who was working for a swimming pool company in America. And he was working for them when the credit crunch happened in 2008. And their business disappeared almost overnight because it was a property-based business. It was to do with, people buying swimming pools for that, having swimming pools installed in their homes. And there wasn't, very little business for them. Mm-hmm. And what he did was he focused all his efforts on content generation for his website. And he realized that every other swimming pool company, basically in the world, had a crap website, and they were writing articles about like fun games you can play in your swimming pool with your children, which is nice, but nobody really cares. What they want to know is, should I have a concrete swimming pool or a fiberglass swimming pool? How much does it cost to heat? How long will it last? How can I clean it? How much will it cost? How long does it take to install? And so he just basically looked at every single question that he thought his customers might be asking and just answered them on the website. And as a result, he just got masses of traffic. Very, very simple thing to do. Now, obviously, since he wrote that, I'm sure that kind of wisdom has permeated across all industries. And I'm sure there's lots of companies who do that, but there's some that don't. So I would say that if you're thinking about the content you're putting out there, make it a priority to just ask your salespeople, what questions are our customers asking, and then answer them on the website. It's really quite simple. You can answer them with blog posts, and you just go through them. Yeah, remembering that there is a normal human being who's behind the screen reading this text. Yeah, I think when we go to these details of writing, sometimes we forget that these are real people who want to solve questions which are important to them. Yeah, of course. And if you're a decent sized organization, you have salespeople, and you can just ask them. Mm-hmm. And you've got a real gold mine there of customer facing people who will just tell you. And then the fifth one is related to that, which is use analytics to find out what people are searching for. So in addition to asking your staff or customer care people, you can also have a look at what people are searching for in your industry. Use Google or use your sort of website analytics to see where people are coming from. Stay tuned, because in the next episode, Tim Green will share 5 more tips on communicating with customers on a blog post.